The celestial dance that creates each of us begins with Aries, the cosmic spark that ignites the entire zodiac wheel. But not all Aries energies burn the same way, especially those born in March, who carry the purest, most undiluted form of this cardinal fire sign's power. These March Aries aren't just the first sign of the zodiac. They're the original blueprints for courage, initiative, and that unmistakable warrior spirit that makes Aries so magnetic and sometimes, yes, a little overwhelming. Imagine the universe on March 21st, when the sun crosses the celestial equator and spring officially begins in the northern hemisphere. This powerful moment of perfect balance between day and night, darkness and light, creates an Aries unlike any other. The cosmos itself holds its breath as these individuals take their first cry, a sound that seems to announce to the world, I am here and I will make my mark. This isn't just poetic language, it's the energetic truth of what makes March Aries so distinctively powerful. We've all encountered that person who walks into a room and immediately changes its energy, the one who speaks with such conviction that even when you disagree, you find yourself nodding along. That's pure Aries energy at work, and those born in March embody it in its most potent form. They don't just enter rooms, they transform them. They don't just have ideas, they have visions they're willing to fight for, and they certainly don't wait for permission to become the main character in any setting. But beneath this powerful exterior lies something most people miss about March Aries, a vulnerability and sensitivity that they protect fiercely. Their flames burn so brightly partly because they feel everything so intensely. That quick temper, it's the shadow side of passionate caring. That impatience, it stems from a deep hunger for authentic experience and a fear that life might pass them by if they wait too long. Understanding this paradox is key to truly knowing the March Aries in your life. What makes the March-born Aries particularly fascinating is how their position at the zodiac's beginning gives them a unique innocence despite their fierce exterior. They approach life with the wonder of someone experiencing everything for the first time, because energetically they are. There's a refreshing lack of cynicism in how they throw themselves into new passions, relationships, and projects. While the rest of us might hesitate, calculating risks and remembering past failures, March Aries plunges forward with inspiring faith that this time, this effort, this love will be different. The ancient astrologers didn't just randomly assign rams to represent Aries. They recognized something essential about how these individuals moved through the world, with heads lowered, charging forward with unstoppable determination toward whatever has captured their attention. March-born Aries, in particular, embody this quality so purely that watching them pursue their goals can be both terrifying and awe-inspiring. They don't just overcome obstacles. They act as if obstacles don't exist until they crash into them. And even then, they usually break through by sheer force of will. Before we dive into the 8 specific types of March Aries, take a moment to think about the Aries individuals who have blazed through your life. What impact did they leave? What fires did they start that continue burning even now? And if you're a March Aries yourself, consider which of these 8 cosmic personalities most resonates with how you express your fiery nature. Your cosmic fingerprint is as unique as you are, and understanding its pattern can illuminate not just who you are, but why you are the way you are. The truth is, we need March Aries energy in our world. In a society that often rewards caution and conformity, these cosmic pioneers remind us of the power of authentic self-expression and bold action. They're the ones who start revolutions, both personal and societal, that the rest of us eventually benefit from. Their courage creates openings that allow more cautious signs to follow. And while their methods might sometimes burn bridges, they're also uniquely capable of forging new paths where none existed before. This pioneering spirit takes different forms depending on exactly when in March an Aries is born, creating distinct variations of this powerful archetype. The pioneer Aries, March 21st, 23, enters the world at the exact moment of cosmic rebirth, when winter's grip finally releases and the entire hemisphere exhales into spring. These aren't just early Aries, they're the quintessential embodiment of what this sign represents in its purest form. Born during the equinox, when day and night stand in perfect balance, these individuals carry a unique energetic signature, the very first expression of cardinal fire energy in the zodiac wheel. What distinguishes Pioneer Aries from their later-born counterparts is their unfiltered relationship with beginnings. While all Aries possess initiative, these equinox children demonstrate an almost supernatural ability to create something from nothing. Watch them in their element, and you'll witness the remarkable alchemy of turning mere ideas into tangible reality through sheer force of will. Their presence in innovation spaces isn't accidental. They belong wherever new paths are being forged because they are, by cosmic design, humanity's trailblazers. The pioneer's approach to life carries the unmistakable freshness of spring itself. These individuals approach each day with the wide-eyed wonder of someone experiencing the world for the very first time. This quality makes them naturally magnetic to others who find themselves revitalized in the pioneer's presence. There's something contagious about their enthusiasm that can transform even the most jaded observer into a temporary believer in possibilities. Impossible is merely a word that hasn't yet encountered a Pioneer Aries' determination. However, this placement comes with its shadows. The Pioneer Aries often struggles with follow-through, not from lack of commitment, but from an almost compulsive attraction to new beginnings. Their cosmic purpose isn't completion, but initiation, which means they are frequently drawn away from existing projects by the irresistible call of the next frontier. This can leave a wake of unfinished symphonies that others must complete, a pattern that can strain relationships with more completion-oriented signs like Taurus or Capricorn. Their leadership style bears mentioning. It's less about calculated strategy and more about instinctive action that inspires others to follow. Pioneer Aries leads from the front, often unaware they're leading at all until they turn around to find a trail of followers magnetized by their confidence and clarity. They don't ask for permission to take charge. They simply step forward when others hesitate, creating a vacuum that naturally pulls others into their orbit. The cosmic gift of the pioneer lies in their ability to begin what others cannot imagine. They serve as cosmic matchlighters, igniting possibilities that might otherwise remain dormant. When society stagnates in comfortable patterns, it's often the Pioneer Aries who disrupts the status quo, not through calculated rebellion, but through genuine inability to comprehend why "that's how it's always been done" should limit what could be done instead. The Warrior Aries, March 24th to 26th, emerges just after the equinox, when spring has announced itself, but must still fight against winter's lingering influence. This cosmic timing infuses these individuals with an intensified connection to Mars, their ruling planet, creating perhaps the most formidable combatants in the zodiac. While all Aries possess fighting spirit, Warrior Aries embodies the archetypal soldier energy in its most distilled form. What separates Warrior Aries from their sign siblings is their relationship with opposition. Where others might view resistance as a deterrent, warriors experience it as fuel. Each obstacle encountered doesn't diminish their resolve, but rather focuses and intensifies it. This creates individuals who seem to possess nearly supernatural reserves of stamina, especially in adversarial situations where others would long since have surrendered. The warrior's approach to challenges reveals their unique cosmic programming. When faced with the impossible, they don't analyze or strategize extensively. They attack directly, often succeeding through sheer relentlessness rather than tactical superiority. It's not that they lack intelligence. Rather, their intelligence expresses itself through action rather than contemplation. They think by doing, learn through engagement, and discover their capabilities only by testing their limits repeatedly. This placement manifests physically as well as temperamentally. Warrior Aries typically possesses remarkable bodily resilience and often demonstrates unusual physical courage. They are frequently drawn to activities that allow them to test their physical capacities, extreme sports, martial arts, or high-intensity training that would exhaust others. Their bodies seem specially designed to withstand pressures that would break less Mars-influenced constitutions. However, this powerful Martian influence creates distinct vulnerabilities. Warrior Aries often struggles with subtlety in all its forms, emotional nuance, diplomatic communication, and patient persistence through non-combat situations. Their reflexive response to any resistance, to fight harder, serves them poorly in circumstances requiring finesse rather than force. Relationships particularly suffer when the warrior applies battlefield tactics to interpersonal dynamics, creating unnecessary conflicts where gentle navigation would suffice. Their leadership emerges differently than the pioneers. While pioneers led through inspiration, warriors lead through demonstration of courage. They create followers not by painting enticing visions, but by modeling unflinching courage in the face of challenges. Their unspoken message, "If I can face this, so can you," creates a particular kind of loyalty based on respect rather than affection. They excel in crisis leadership when clear command and decisive action outweigh collaborative consensus. The cosmic gift of the warrior lies in their ability to overcome what others cannot face. They serve as humanity's protectors and champions, willing to confront dangers that more cautious signs would sensibly avoid. When collective courage falters, it's often warrior Aries who steps forward, not because they lack fear, but because their relationship with fear is fundamentally different. They experience it as a challenge rather than a warning. Both pioneer and warrior Aries share the blessing and burden of being cosmic initiators, though they express this quality through different channels. Pioneers initiate new ideas, ventures, and possibilities. Warriors initiate confrontations with whatever threatens what they value. Both serve essential functions in our collective evolution, providing the spark and the protection that newer, more vulnerable expressions need to develop. What makes these March-born Aries particularly fascinating is how clearly they demonstrate the sign's fundamental nature before it begins to blend with influences from neighboring signs. They are Aries in its most concentrated form, unapologetically direct, refreshingly authentic, and powerfully present. They don't just embody the ram that symbolizes their sign, they are the very essence of what that symbol represents, the unstoppable forward momentum that ensures life continues its cycle of renewal. As we transition from these purest expressions of Aries energy to the next varieties, we begin to see how this foundational fire adapts and specializes, creating individuals who channel the same essential power through increasingly diverse expressions. The pioneer breaks new ground, the warrior defends it. But what happens when Aries fire meets visionary insight or unexpected diplomatic skill? That's where our exploration leads next, into the fascinating territory of Aries expressions that begin to incorporate subtle influences from surrounding cosmic energies while maintaining their unmistakable Martian core. The visionary Aries, March 27-29, represents a fascinating evolution in the Aries energy spectrum. As March progresses, the pure warrior and pioneer spirits begin to refine themselves, creating individuals who channel their considerable fire not just into action, but into transformative vision. These late March Aries possess the remarkable ability to see possibilities that others cannot yet imagine, combining classic Aries initiative with an almost prophetic insight into what could be. What distinguishes the visionary from earlier Aries manifestations is their relationship with the future. While pioneers break new ground in the present and warriors defend what matters in the moment, visionaries live partially in a tomorrow that exists clearly in their minds but remains invisible to others. This creates the paradoxical quality that defines them. They are simultaneously fully present with trademark Aries intensity, yet also mysteriously connected to potentials that haven't yet materialized. Watch a visionary Aries in creative flow, and you'll witness something extraordinary, the seamless translation of intuitive knowing into concrete expression, whether through art, innovation, business ventures, or social movements. These individuals serve as human bridges between what is and what could be. Their ideas often initially strike others as impossible, or even absurd, only to eventually become the new normal that everyone takes for granted. This pattern repeats throughout their lives, creating a specific kind of loneliness, the solitude of seeing what others cannot yet comprehend. Their creative process differs markedly from other innovative types. While air signs might approach innovation through logical extrapolation and water signs through emotional resonance, the visionary Aries accesses new ideas through direct energetic connection. They describe their insights arriving not as careful conclusions, but as complete downloads, fully formed visions that appear suddenly and demand expression. "It just came to me" is their honest explanation for breakthroughs that might have taken others years of methodical development. This visionary quality manifests across diverse domains. In business, they create markets rather than simply serving existing ones. In art, they pioneer styles that initially baffle critics, but eventually define new movements. In relationships, they see others not merely as they are, but as they could become, sometimes loving potential more than present reality, a tendency that creates both inspiration and frustration for their partners. However, this placement carries specific challenges. Visionary Aries often struggles with the patience required to bring their insights into full manifestation. The gap between their crystal-clear mental picture and the messier reality of implementation creates a particular kind of frustration that can lead to abandoned projects and unfulfilled potential. They require collaborators who can translate their visionary flashes into methodical execution, a partnership that, when successful, can literally change the world. Their leadership style emerges as a powerful form of inspiration. Unlike the pioneer who leads by action or the warrior who leads through courage, visionaries lead by articulating possibilities that awaken dormant aspirations in others. They create followers not through command, but through revelation, showing people versions of themselves and their world that they hadn't previously imagined but immediately recognize as deeply desirable. The cosmic gift of the visionary lies in their ability to accelerate evolution through imagination. They serve as humanity's scouts, venturing ahead into potential futures and returning with maps that others can follow. In times of stagnation or crisis, when established patterns fail, it's often the visionary Aries who provides the conceptual breakthrough that creates entirely new pathways forward. The diplomat Aries, March 30th to 31, emerges at the most intriguing juncture of the Zodiac wheel, where fiery Aries begins to feel the approaching influence of earthy Taurus. This cosmic positioning creates perhaps the most surprising Aries manifestation. Individuals who maintain the sign's characteristic directness but express it through remarkably effective diplomacy. They are fire-wrapped in just enough earth to be contained without being extinguished. What separates diplomat Aries from their earlier March counterparts is their relationship with opposition. While warriors meet resistance head-on and pioneers simply circumvent it by creating new paths, diplomats possess the extraordinary ability to transform resistance through engagement. They don't avoid conflicts or power through them. They alchemize them into opportunities for mutual advancement, a skill that more typical Aries expressions often spend lifetimes trying to develop. This unusual combination manifests in their communication style. Diplomat Aries maintains the sign's characteristic honesty, but delivers truth with tactical precision rather than blunt force. They instinctively understand that how something is said often determines whether what is said will be received. This doesn't represent dishonesty or manipulation, but rather a sophisticated understanding that effective communication requires both courage and consideration, a balance that comes naturally to this Aries variation. Watch a diplomat. Aries navigate a contentious meeting or mediate a personal dispute, and you'll witness a masterclass in effective advocacy. They somehow manage to represent their position with unwavering clarity while simultaneously creating space for opposing viewpoints. This isn't achieved through compromise or people-pleasing, but through genuine respect for the dialectical process, understanding that truth often emerges through the collision of differing perspectives rather than the dominance of any single view. Their negotiation style reveals their unique cosmic programming. Unlike more typical Aries approaches that might rely on intimidation or sheer persistence, Diplomat Aries achieves their objectives through strategic alliance building. They instinctively identify common interests beneath apparent conflicts and construct solutions that allow all parties to claim meaningful victories. This isn't calculated manipulation, but rather an intuitive understanding that sustainable agreements require mutual benefit. However, this placement creates specific vulnerabilities. Diplomat Aries often struggles with the perception that they've betrayed the cardinal Aries virtue of absolute authenticity by incorporating tactical consideration into their self-expression. They may periodically overcompensate with bursts of excessive directness, temporarily abandoning their diplomatic gifts in an attempt to prove their true Aries nature. This internal conflict between their fiery core and their diplomatic capabilities can create confusing inconsistencies for those around them. Their leadership emerges as a powerful form of coalition building. Unlike earlier Aries expressions that might create followers through inspiration, example, or command, diplomats create alignment through inclusion. They excel at constructing environments where diverse perspectives feel genuinely valued while still maintaining clear direction. This unusual combination makes them particularly effective in contexts requiring both decisive action and collaborative buy-in. The cosmic gift of the diplomat lies in their ability to advance collective interests without sacrificing individual authenticity. They serve as human bridges between opposing factions, creating pathways for collaboration that more combative or uncompromising types could never establish. In polarized environments, whether families, organizations, or societies, it's often the diplomat Aries who creates the unexpected breakthrough that transforms antagonism into productive engagement. Both visionary and diplomat Aries demonstrate how the sign's fundamental qualities, courage, directness, initiative, can express themselves through increasingly sophisticated channels as March progresses. They maintain the unmistakable Aries fire while channeling it through more complex and nuanced expressions than their earlier month counterparts. They don't represent diluted Aries energy, but rather specialized applications of the same essential power. What makes these late March Aries particularly valuable is how they expand our understanding of what Aries energy can accomplish. They challenge the simplistic stereotype of Aries as merely impulsive or combative, revealing how this foundational fire can fuel not just courage and competition, but also innovation and reconciliation. They demonstrate that directness can serve connection as powerfully as it serves confrontation when channeled with awareness and intention. As we transition to exploring the April-born Aries variations in our next segment, we'll discover how these qualities continue to evolve, creating individuals who express their Aries nature through increasingly strategic, magnetic, resilient, and even mystical channels, each maintaining the sign's essential fire while directing it through increasingly specialized expressions. The strategist Aries, April 1-3, shatters one of the most persistent misconceptions about this cardinal fire sign, that Aries individuals operate purely on impulse without strategic forethought. Born as the sign begins to mature, strategist Aries represents a fascinating evolutionary step, the integration of Mars-driven action with remarkable tactical intelligence. These individuals possess the quintessential Aries fire, but have learned to contain it within the discipline of strategic thinking, creating a particularly potent combination. What distinguishes the strategist from earlier Aries expressions is their relationship with time. While pioneers live primarily in immediate action and warriors in present confrontation, strategists maintain a sophisticated awareness of past, present, and future simultaneously. They act with characteristic Aries decisiveness, but their moves are informed by pattern recognition and predictive awareness that might surprise those expecting only impulsivity from an Aries. Observe a strategist in competitive environments, whether business negotiations, athletic contests, or intellectual debates, and you'll witness something remarkable. Actions that appear spontaneous to observers, but actually represent carefully calibrated moves within a larger strategic framework. They possess an almost intuitive understanding of game theory, instinctively recognizing how current moves create future possibilities while limiting others. This creates the paradoxical quality that defines them. They appear impulsive, while actually being several steps ahead. Their decision-making process reveals their unique cosmic programming. Unlike more deliberative signs that might analyze options exhaustively before acting, strategists engage in compressed processing that rapidly identifies optimal pathways. They don't avoid analysis, they accelerate it, reaching conclusions in moments that might take others hours or days. This creates the illusion of impulsivity when what's really happening is high-speed strategic calculation that bypasses conscious deliberation. This strategic capacity manifests across diverse domains. In career contexts, they excel at identifying emerging opportunities before markets become saturated. In social dynamics, they navigate complex interpersonal politics with surprising deftness, building alliances that advance their objectives. In creative fields, they instinctively understand how current artistic choices will be received by various audiences, allowing them to communicate with remarkable precision. However, this placement creates specific challenges. Strategist Aries often struggles with transparency, not from any desire to deceive, but from the difficulty of articulating the complex, intuitive calculations that inform their decisions. When asked to explain their reasoning, they might respond with, "I just know," or "trust me," answers that frustrate more analytically minded colleagues, but genuinely reflect their experience of compressed strategic thinking that bypasses linear reasoning. Their leadership style emerges as a form of strategic direction. Unlike earlier Aries expressions that might lead through pure inspiration or courage, strategists lead by creating contexts where success becomes nearly inevitable. They excel at constructing situations where the desired outcome becomes the path of least resistance for all involved, not through manipulation, but through intelligent design of circumstances. This makes them particularly effective in contexts requiring systemic change rather than merely personal influence. The cosmic gift of the strategist lies in their ability to accelerate progress through intelligent action. They serve as catalysts who don't just initiate change, but strategically direct it toward optimal outcomes. In complex systems, whether organizations, communities, or social movements, it's often the strategist Aries who identifies the precise point of intervention that creates maximum positive impact with minimum wasted effort. The magnetic Aries, April 4-7, represents perhaps the most socially influential variation of this fire sign. Born when Aries energy has had time to refine itself, but before it begins transitioning toward Taurus, these individuals channel their considerable fire into extraordinary personal magnetism. They don't just enter rooms, they transform the energetic field within them, creating gravitational pulls that naturally position them at the center of any social ecosystem. What separates the magnetic Aries from their sign siblings is their relationship with attention. While all Aries tends to attract notice, magnetics possess a qualitatively different kind of presence, a charismatic field that doesn't merely draw eyes, but actively influences those within its radius. This isn't about conventional attractiveness, though many are indeed conventionally attractive, but rather about an energetic quality that makes neutrality in their presence nearly impossible. People respond to magnetic Aries, positively or negatively, but rarely with indifference. This magnetic quality manifests physically as well as energetically. Many possess a characteristic intensity in their gaze that creates the sensation of being fully seen, an experience both uncomfortable and compelling for those unaccustomed to such focused attention. Their gestures tend toward expressiveness, their voices naturally modulate for maximum impact, and their physical movements often possess a fluid intentionality that draws and directs attention. These aren't calculated effects, but natural expressions of their heightened energetic presence. Watch a magnetic Aries in group settings, and you'll witness a fascinating social phenomenon: how conversations naturally orient around them, how others unconsciously shift position to include them in circles, how even those initially resistant often find themselves gradually aligning with the magnetic's perspective or energy. This isn't achieved through domineering behavior, but through a kind of energetic entrainment that occurs naturally in their presence. Their communication style reveals their unique cosmic programming. Magnetic Aries speaks with a compelling combination of certainty and inclusivity, making even controversial statements sound like obvious truths. They don't just share ideas, they transmit conviction, imbuing their communications with an energetic charge that bypasses logical resistance. When they explain it, it just makes sense, is a common response to magnetic Aries, even from those who might reject identical content from different messengers. This placement manifests powerfully in creative and leadership contexts. As performers, they possess that indefinable it factor that separates technically proficient artists from genuine stars. As leaders, they create followers, not just through competence, but through a kind of inspirational contagion that makes others want to align with their vision. Their presence can elevate entire projects, infusing endeavors with an energy that attracts resources, opportunities, and support that might otherwise remain inaccessible. However, this magnetic quality creates specific vulnerabilities. Magnetic Aries often struggles with the responsibility that comes with their natural influence. Their casual opinions can be taken as definitive pronouncements. Their passing criticisms can wound deeply, and their enthusiastic endorsements can lead others down paths without sufficient due diligence. Learning to manage the impact of their magnetism requires a maturity that doesn't always develop concurrently with their influence. Their leadership emerges as a form of energetic alignment. Unlike earlier Aries expressions that might lead through pioneering action, courage, vision, or strategy, magnetics lead through resonance. They create coherence in groups, not by directing or controlling, but by embodying a clear frequency that others naturally harmonize with. This makes them particularly effective in contexts requiring cultural transformation, rather than merely structural change. The cosmic gift of the magnetic lies in their ability to catalyze collective movement through personal embodiment. They serve as energetic templates that help others access similar qualities within themselves. In fragmented or low-energy environments, whether teams, communities, or creative collaborations, it's often the magnetic Aries who revitalizes the collective field, restoring coherence and momentum through their sheer presence. Both strategist and magnetic Aries demonstrate how the sign's fundamental qualities, courage, directness, initiative, can express themselves through increasingly sophisticated channels as April begins. They maintain unmistakable Aries fire while channeling it through more complex and nuanced expressions than their March counterparts. They don't represent diluted Aries energy, but rather specialized applications of the same essential power. What makes these early April Aries particularly fascinating is how they expand our understanding of personal influence. They challenge simplistic notions of how change happens, revealing that strategic intelligence and energetic presence can be as powerful as direct action or verbal persuasion. They demonstrate that Aries fire can transform systems not just through confrontation or innovation, but also through intelligent navigation and magnetic resonance. As we transition to exploring the final Aries variations in our next segment, we'll discover how these qualities culminate in individuals who express their Aries nature through remarkable resilience and even spiritual insight, representing the full maturation of this sign's potential before it yields to Taurus stability. The resilient Aries, April 8-11, embodies perhaps the most inspiring manifestation of this cardinal fire sign's power, the ability to transform adversity into advancement. Born when Aries energy has fully matured, but before it begins its transition to Taurus, these individuals possess an almost supernatural capacity for psychological and spiritual rebound. They don't merely survive challenges, they alchemize them into platforms for unprecedented growth and evolution. What distinguishes the resilient Aries from earlier expressions is their relationship with difficulty. While all Aries possesses courage in the face of challenges, resilience demonstrates a qualitatively different response to adversity, a profound capacity to extract meaning, wisdom, and even advantage from circumstances that would devastate others. This isn't mere persistence, but a form of transformative engagement with obstacles that converts them from barriers into catalysts. The cosmic timing of their birth provides a fascinating explanation for this quality. Born as Aries reaches its full maturation, they embody the Zodiac's first complete lesson. That initiation, the primary Aries theme, inevitably encounters resistance, but this resistance serves evolution rather than preventing it. Resilient Aries understands at a cellular level what others struggle to accept intellectually, that obstacles aren't punishments, but accelerators of development when engaged properly. This resilient quality manifests across life, domains with remarkable consistency. In career contexts, they often experience dramatic reversals, projects failing, positions lost, opportunities evaporating, only to emerge in significantly stronger positions afterward. In relationships, they survive betrayals or losses that seem catastrophic, eventually creating connections of greater depth and authenticity than before. In health challenges, they frequently demonstrate recovery patterns that confound medical expectations. Observe a resilient Aries navigating crisis situations, and you'll witness something extraordinary, an almost palpable shift from initial impact to strategic response that bypasses the prolonged processing most require, where others might remain stunned by unexpected setbacks. Resilience moves rapidly through shock into adaptive action. This isn't denial or toxic positivity, but rather an instinctive understanding that forward movement itself generates solutions that stagnation cannot reveal. Their recovery process reveals their unique cosmic programming. Unlike more contemplative signs that might analyze adversity extensively before responding, resilients engage immediately with what remains rather than what was lost. They don't avoid grief or accountability. They integrate these processes into ongoing action, rather than treating them as preliminary stages that must be completed before rebuilding begins. This creates their characteristic simultaneous healing and advancement that so often leaves observers astonished. However, this placement creates specific challenges. Resilient Aries often struggles with premature closure, moving forward so decisively after setbacks that necessary integration of lessons remains incomplete. Their remarkable capacity to withstand and transcend difficulty can paradoxically lead to repeated exposure to similar challenges, because the deep assimilation of experience requires a reflective pace at odds with their instinctive momentum. Their leadership emerges as inspirational resilience, unlike earlier Aries expressions that might lead through pioneering action, courage, vision, strategy, or magnetism. Resilients lead through demonstration of transformative recovery. They create hope not by avoiding difficulties, but by revealing how completely they can be transcended. This makes them particularly effective in contexts requiring collective perseverance through extended challenges, whether organizational transformations, community rebuilding, or social movements facing significant opposition. The cosmic gift of the resilient lies in their ability to sustain possibility through darkest moments. They serve as living proof that setbacks, however devastating, need not determine outcomes. In environments of despair or resignation, whether families, organizations, or communities facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, it's often the resilient Aries who maintains the faith and momentum that eventually reveals unexpected pathways forward. The mystic Aries, April 12, 19, represents the most spiritually attuned expression of this cardinal fire sign. Born in Aries' final days, as the sign begins sensing Taurus's approaching influence, these individuals channel their considerable fire into profound existential exploration. They maintain classic Aries courage and directness, but apply these qualities to inner frontiers rather than merely external conquests, creating a fascinating integration of spiritual depth with assertive engagement. What separates the mystic from earlier Aries manifestations is their relationship with consciousness itself. While pioneers break external ground and warriors confront external threats, mystics apply the same fearless initiative to exploring the nature of reality and personal identity. They approach the great mysteries with characteristic Aries directness, demanding authentic experience rather than theoretical knowledge, and often achieving breakthrough insights that more cautious seekers might require decades to reach. This mystical quality manifests through a characteristic approach to spiritual exploration. Unlike more passive or receptive approaches, mystic Aries pursues awakening with trademark intensity, engaging practices with the same determination others might apply to competitive sports or business ventures. They don't wait for enlightenment, they hunt it, bringing quintessential Aries courage to inner exploration. This creates a distinctive spiritual style that eschews both dogmatic certainty and endless questioning in favor of direct experiential knowing. Watch a mystic Aries in spiritual context, and you'll notice something distinctive: their unusual comfort with paradox and mystery without surrendering critical intelligence. They somehow maintain both beginner's mind and discerning wisdom simultaneously, approaching each teaching or practice with both openness and healthy skepticism. This isn't intellectual contradiction, but integrated consciousness that transcends binary thinking without abandoning clarity, a particularly valuable contribution in spiritual environments that might otherwise drift toward either rigid dogma or uncritical acceptance. Their awakening process reveals their unique cosmic programming. Unlike more gradual spiritual evolutions, mystics often experience dramatic breakthrough moments that permanently transform their understanding. These aren't merely intellectual realizations, but full system recalibrations that alter how they experience themselves and reality. "Nothing was ever the same after that" is a common refrain, describing watershed insights that divide their lives into distinct before and after phases. This placement manifests powerfully in how they integrate spiritual understanding with active engagement. Unlike paths that might emphasize transcendence of worldly concerns, mystic Aries typically brings their awakening directly into practical application. They don't retreat from life's complexities but engage them with expanded awareness, often becoming bridges between spiritual principles and tangible implementation. This creates their characteristic combination of profound insight with pragmatic action, a partnership rarely found in more extremist approaches. However, this mystical orientation creates specific challenges. Mystic Aries often struggles with communicating their direct experiences in ways others can comprehend. The immediacy and totality of their realizations don't translate easily into sequential language, creating potential isolation when their most significant understandings remain inexpressible through conventional means. Learning to translate direct knowing into accessible communication becomes a central developmental task. Their spiritual leadership emerges as embodied awakening. Unlike teachers who might emphasize doctrinal comprehension or methodical practice, mystics lead through demonstration of integrated realization. They create understanding not by explaining concepts, but by manifesting their implications in recognizable form. This makes them particularly effective in contexts requiring practical spirituality, rather than merely theoretical understanding or ritualistic observance. The cosmic gift of the mystic lies in their ability to make transcendent understanding accessible through direct embodiment. They serve as living bridges between abstract principles and tangible expression in spiritual contexts that might otherwise remain either intellectually abstract or emotionally untethered. It's often the mystic Aries who grounds eternal truths in present reality, making the infinite directly perceptible through their very being. Both resilient and mystic Aries demonstrate how the sign's fundamental qualities, courage, directness, initiative, ultimately evolve toward their highest expression. As Aries concludes its zodiacal journey, they maintain unmistakable Aries fire, but channel it through transformative resilience and spiritual awakening, representing the full maturation of this sign's potential before yielding to Taurus stability. What makes these final Aries expressions particularly profound is how they complete our understanding of what Aries energy ultimately serves. They reveal that the pioneering spirit, warrior courage, visionary insight, there's diplomatic skill, strategic intelligence, and magnetic presence all ultimately support the same evolutionary purpose. the development of unconquerable resilience and awakened consciousness that can engage life's full spectrum without fragmentation or retreat. As Aries transitions into Taurus, the cosmic wheel continues its eternal journey, but not before showing us the complete arc of fiery initiation from its most basic expressions to its most transcendent manifestations. The 8 Aries types born in March and early April don't represent 8 different kinds of people, so much as 8 stages of potential development available to everyone carrying this cardinal fire signature. Our journey through the 8 distinct variations of March-born Aries reveals the remarkable complexity hidden within what many dismiss as simply the impulsive first sign. From the pure equinox energy of the pioneers who break new ground with unfiltered enthusiasm to the transcendent awareness of the mystics who direct that same fire towards spiritual awakening, we've witnessed the complete evolutionary spectrum of what Aries energy can become when expressed through different cosmic timings. These variations aren't merely academic categorizations, but living archetypes that help us understand both ourselves and the Aries individuals in our lives with greater nuance and appreciation. The pioneer's ability to initiate what others cannot imagine, the warrior's courage to confront what others avoid, the visionary's capacity to perceive possibilities beyond conventional limits, and the diplomat's skill at advancing authentic truth through effective communication all represent essential aspects of the Aries contribution to our collective evolution. Equally significant are the more mature Aries expressions we explored. The strategist's remarkable ability to combine decisive action with tactical intelligence, the magnetic's capacity to transform social fields through sheer presence, the resilience inspiration through transformative recovery, and the mystic's embodiment of spiritual awareness in practical engagement. These advanced manifestations reveal how Aries fire ultimately serves not merely personal achievement, but collective awakening. What emerges from this exploration is a profound appreciation for how the same essential energy can express itself through increasingly sophisticated channels as the sign progresses. The directness, courage, and initiative that define Aries remain constant throughout all 8 variations, but the application of these qualities evolves from simple external action to complex internal transformation. This progression mirrors the developmental journey available to every Aries individual who consciously engages their cosmic potential. The question now becomes personal. Which of these 8 types resonates most strongly with your experience? If you're an Aries born in March, do you recognize your cosmic fingerprint in our descriptions? If you have March Aries individuals in your life, has this exploration helped you appreciate the specific gifts they bring to your world? And regardless of your own sign, which of these Aries qualities might you benefit from more consciously cultivating in yourself? This is precisely why we created Secret of the Zodiac, to move beyond simplistic sun sign stereotypes into the rich complexity of how cosmic energies actually manifest in real human lives. Each sign contains multitudes, and understanding these nuanced variations transforms astrology from mere entertainment into a powerful tool for self-awareness and interpersonal understanding. If you found value in this deeper exploration of Aries variations, we invite you to become part of our cosmic community by subscribing to the Secret of the Zodiac channel. Each day, we delve into similar nuanced analyses of zodiac energies, revealing distinctions and connections that most astrological sources never address. Our commitment is to bring you content that respects both the ancient wisdom of astrology and the modern complexity of human experience. Beyond simply subscribing, we encourage you to actively participate in our collective exploration. Like this video, to help our cosmic insights reach others who might benefit from this deeper understanding. Share your personal reflections in the comments. Tell us which March Aries type resonates most strongly with your experience or observations. Your contribution enriches our communal understanding and helps others recognize themselves in your words. For those who find particular value in our approach and want to support more frequent content creation, we've enabled Super Thanks as a way to directly contribute to our production costs. This financial support allows us to dedicate more time to research, create daily content, and continuously improve the quality of our cosmic explorations. Every contribution, regardless of size, represents not just financial support, but recognition of the value this deeper astrological approach brings to your life. The secret of the Zodiac isn't merely a channel, but a growing community of individuals committed to understanding themselves and others through the cosmic lens. By subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing, and supporting our work, you become an active participant in expanding collective awareness. Together, we're rediscovering ancient wisdom while creating a contemporary language for the eternal dance of cosmic energies within the human experience. The stars have been telling their stories for billions of years. We're simply learning to listen more carefully to the specific dialects they speak. Join us in this cosmic conversation. Your unique perspective is an essential part of the constellation we're creating together.